In this video, we're going to be going over the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous systems. And so starting off with the sympathetic nervous system, it is what prepares the body for stressful or emergency situations, fight or flight, by performing the following. And so here it's important to keep in mind that the sympathetic nervous system becomes activated whenever you experience a great amount of stress or you have the fight or flight phenomenon. So, for example, if you're walking down the road and you see a wild dog coming at you, then you activate the sympathetic nervous system. And so you may feel your heart starting to beat fast, you're suddenly breathing heavy, you have no appetite. So that's the sympathetic nervous system at work. And a lot of these functions for both the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous systems, they're very intuitive. So if you're ever unsure, you can always visualize yourself in an emergency situation and you can think back to how you feel whenever you undergo a lot of stress. And then based off of that, you can come up with the correct functions of these systems. So starting off, the heart rate will be increased, pupils dilated, bronchi dilated, salivation is reduced, digestive activity is reduced, glucose release will be increased, bladder contraction will be reduced, sweat glands will be stimulated, blood pressure will be increased. In terms of the pancreatic activity, a lot of the textbooks will say that it's inhibited, and to a certain extent it is. However, it is important to keep in mind the specifics that will be increased or decreased. So in terms of pancreatic activity, glucagon secretion will be increased, insulin secretion will be decreased, and exocrine activity will be decreased as well. And then lastly, the adrenal medulla will be stimulated. Moving on to the parasympathetic nervous system, it's important to keep in mind that both nervous systems have antagonistic effects. So in other words, they're going to be the opposite of each other. And so the parasympathetic nervous system is part of the autonomic nervous system responsible for promoting rest and digest functions, conserving energy, and restoring the body to a state of calm. So a good example to think about this is that you ate a large meal, you're full, and you're sitting down on the couch watching television. And so naturally, you're not moving a lot, your heart rate is nice and low, you're breathing very slowly, and you're relaxing. So that's the parasympathetic nervous system at work. And so moving on to the direct effects of the parasympathetic nervous system, the heart rate will be reduced, pupils constricted, bronchi constricted, salivation increased, digestive activity increased, glucose release will be reduced, and the bladder contraction will be stimulated. The parasympathetic nervous system does not have a direct impact or influence on the sweat gland activity and the adrenal medulla. And blood pressure will be decreased. In terms of the pancreatic activity, glucagon secretion will be reduced, insulin secretion increased, and exocrine activity increased.